It is no secret that my all-time favorite step in my makeup routine is eyeshadow, but there are some really, really awful eyeshadow palettes on the market that I have tried and that I've been so disappointed with. So I thought today would be such a fun idea to go through my worst eyeshadow palettes I have ever tried. And of course, I would love to hear, what is the worst eyeshadow palette you have ever tried? Have you ever tried the eyeshadow palettes on this list? Do you like them? That would be such an interesting thing to find out. But just before we do jump into this video, if you have not already, like and subscribe. I upload every single day here on my YouTube channel. I love bright, fun, colourful makeup, even though I've gone kind of neutral today, but I've gone very, very shimmery and sparkly. I just love this look. This is created with my new Pan That palette. If you didn't see, I did do a video completely Frankening my Pan That palette, and this is the new shades. But I just love eyeshadow so much. I have never done my makeup without eyeshadow. I just think it's the most fun part of the whole makeup routine, and it just stings so much when you find an eyeshadow palette that you think you're gonna love and you actually really, really hate. So let's jump into this. If you have your eyes on any of these palettes, steer clear, turn around, and I'm going to tell you why. So, the first palette that I want to talk about today was the first time that I realized, oh, eyeshadow quality can be abysmal. I kept asking for this palette for birthday and Christmas and all of it. I kept hounding my mum to try and get me this palette. I was on it and she finally bought it for me and I hated it. This is the Morphe Hotspot palette and you can see just by the look of it, it looks right up my street, and I was so excited to try this. This was something that I got when I was really first starting into makeup. I would not really buy any Morphe palettes right now, it's just ethic-wise, but back then, Morphe was a massive, massive name, and this palette had just released, and I was so unbelievably excited. Half blue, half warm neutrals. I was absolutely in love. I was first starting to really figure out that I absolutely loved blue eyeshadow. I still do. Blue is my happy color. I will say that till the day I die. And this palette just had me by the heartstrings. But I tried it. And when I say these shimmers were like dense, these were those like dense, not very impactful, really lackluster kind of shimmers. And the mattes were just like not good. This palette, I actually think I was allergic to it, okay? Because it made my eyes water so bad. I do have a video of it somewhere. If I can find it, I will put it on screen now. But it was one of the first looks that I did with this palette, and it was a cut crease. There was a yellow on the lid and then a blue in the like crease area, and my eyes hated it. I don't know why. Have you ever had that with a Morphe palette? Because honestly, I was scared. I was scared I had like an eye infection or something like that, but my eyes hated this formula. Nowadays, I do wear eye drops because sometimes in the wind or in the cold weather, my eyes do leak. But that was not that. It was something else completely, because this palette, as soon as it went on my eyes were like, hell no, we hate this. So I mean, double whammy there, okay? I hated it personally, and my body literally rejected it as well. So what the hell was going on there? I have no idea. I just remember being so upset and disappointed by this formula. And honestly, since then, I've not really tried much of Morphe. I did try the Morphe Hot for Hue palette. I've tried the Smoke and Shadow and the Khaki Calling, and all of them are now decluttered out of my makeup collection, and I don't really plan on buying any more Morphe anytime soon. So that really says a lot to me about Morphe and about Morphe quality. It has come in my collection, 4 palettes have come in my collection, and all 4 palettes have been decluttered. That says a lot. If that doesn't scream not good quality, I don't know what does. Next was another palette that I was just so excited about. I mean, these are palettes that I was so excited about, all of them, because otherwise I wouldn't have brought them in my collection. So this, and I know a lot of people got caught out with this is the Huda Beauty Neon Green Obsessions palette, and just looking at this is so up my street. Again, just like the Morphe palette, it is me in a palette duochromes, light, bright chartreuses, really beautiful pastel, in your face, different kind of color stories. I was all over the promos for this, like space and sci-fi and shimmery and beautiful. If you looked through my indie single eyeshadow collections, you could see like a lot of these sparkly duochrome, iridescent kind of shades that were marketed to be in this palette. When I tell you again, these shimmers were dense, they were not very impactful, they were just like blah kind of shimmers. I was so upset. I was so upset. I did get this in TK Maxx, so I didn't pay full price, but I do know that these were recalled as well, so that makes me a little bit worried. I do still have the Orange Obsessions palette because I did get that one as well. I still love that one. The quality of that one I still think is really beautiful, but the green one, what was going on there? What the hell was going on there? Because oh my gosh, I thought I would have so much fun doing like a matte chartreusey green crease and then a super beautiful, impactful, sparkly shimmer on the lid. In theory, that is like my dream. I love that. This palette did not provide that at all. I have no idea how it got through quality control because this palette was one of the worst palettes, hands down, that I have ever tried in my life. And that is why it's in this video, because I still am baffled by that palette. How was that even allowed on the market? I don't really know what the recall was about. I don't know if it was quality control or if it was like a dangerous thing in the eyeshadow. Let me know down below because, yeah, I'm a little bit scared about that, not gonna lie. Should I be getting rid of my Orange Obsessions as well? I don't know. Next, I have a vivid memory of seeing this in Superdrug. So I wasn't in Superdrug, that's a lie. I mean, we're off to a good start with this vivid memory. I was in Boots. I was in Boots in Liverpool. It was the one opposite McDonald's. Like, if you know, you know. It's the little one. I was in there. And they had this reduced section. And in that reduced section, I bought the Sleek Solstice Equinox highlighter that I still love and I still use to this day. And I also bought the Revolution Chameleon palette. Now, this palette was marketed as a palette of duochromes, okay? And I was like, a palette of duochromes? Hell yeah, I'm gonna buy it. So I bought it, and because it was reduced, it was something like £5. So, you know, hey ho, I'm not breaking the bank here, but still, I'm spending my money on it, so it needs to work. When I say these were the most lackluster duochromes I've ever seen, they were pitiful. And by this point, I had definitely started getting into this like indie sphere. I was buying from the Pastel Roses all the time, and all of their duochromes are true duochromes. They are multichromes, they are shimmery, they have texture, they have base pigment, they have it all. So when I took this Revolution palette home and I swatched it, and it was just like muddy, single chrome, is that even a word? Monochrome, that's the one. Just no pizzazz, no pigment. It was pigmented, I'll give it that, but there was just nothing special about it. It was just like a few random lackluster shimmers, and this really made me think, okay, a lot of drugstore palettes cannot do duochromes, and I've noticed that a lot. Obviously, drugstore palettes, they need to keep their prices low, and duochromes are very, very expensive, so it should have been a little bit of a red flag that I was getting a palette full of duochromes for £5, but I know that a lot of drugstore brands can't do duochromes because they need to keep the price low. I understand that now. Back then, I did not. I was just so excited to try all these beautiful new duochromes. Do not get pulled in to Revolution duochromes because, oh my goodness me, it is something to behold. Let me tell you that for free. Not in a good way. It is something to behold. So if you've been tempted by this palette because of the duochrome pull, don't. Leave it on the shelf. Leave it where it is. Speaking of Revolution, next I have two palettes that I actually still own. You guys knew these were coming. This is the Revolution Lion King collection, and if you guys know me, I know I've said it a lot. I'm a Lion King stan. I'm a Lion King fanatic. I'm a Lion King freak. Am I going to see the new live action prequel, even though I know it's going to be awful and ruin all the Lion King lore? Yes, I am. I know the Lion King lore. That is how deep I am. So of course, when Revolution came out with Lion King palettes, I had to buy some. Now I did pull myself back. I didn't buy the whole collection. Are you proud? I only bought 2 palettes. So this is the Jungle Princess. Color Story is stunning. Color Story, they worked hard and it paid off. This is the Circle of Life. Yeah, love it. Beautiful, right up my street. They're very contrasting palettes, but I love them both. Quality, non-existent, especially the shimmers. I think it's the shimmers that I have the issue with. The mattes aren't bad. It's just the shimmers. Like, I'll swatch this purple. Let's swatch that there. It's like, it's fine. It's like, it's not. Let's try and blend it out. Oh, wow. Ugh. You see what I mean? It's just like, where is it? And they're all kind of like this. They're all just not good quality at all. This matte purple is actually a joke. So you can see it on my finger there. Let's swatch it. Okay, no, it doesn't look good. It's just bland. It's grey. It's not pigmented. Just this palette, this formula. I fully think that these were cash grabs. I really do. And I was so excited. When I say I was so excited, like, I'm just looking up behind my camera. I've got a little pop toy of Simba. Like, what else have I got? I've got so much Lion King stuff in my room. It's crazy. I love the Lion King. Can I get rid of these though? No, because they're the Lion King, and that's where they get you with these TV show and movie collabs. It's the nostalgia that gets you. It's that pulls you in. Even if it's crap, you're gonna keep it. You're gonna buy it because you just want that memorabilia. Also, side note, I was never a Squishmallow girl until I saw that they're doing Lion King Squishmallows right now. I can't hold back my excitement. I went to like 7 different Asdas the other day trying to find this, and I can't find it. So if you're in the UK and you know where they are, please let me know because I want one so bad. I would literally do anything for one of these. Please let me know. Okay, so let's move on to another eyeshadow palette that I actually have in my collection still, and I just can't get rid of it because it's Natasha Denona. This is the Natasha Denona Mini Trio Chrome palette, and I have spoken about this a lot before, so I'll probably not spend too long on this. However, I've been waiting for Natasha Denona to do a blue palette forever. And then this released, and I was so excited. When I say excitement isn't even the word. Like, I love blue. We've been through this in this video. I love blue eyeshadow so much. So when this came out, I was like, oh my gosh, yes. I had tried Natasha Denona before. I tried the Mini Star palette. I really did not like that palette. But I was like, you know what? It's blue. It's a winner. It's blue. I'm going to buy it. I really don't like Natasha Denona quality, and this has solidified it. I have since tried the Glam palette as well. I'm not a fan. I'm really not a fan. And even people who do love Natasha Denona have come out and said, this is a flop. This is a big fat flop. So for them to be saying that, it has to be bad. This duochrome, it looks great when you swatch it, but on the eyes, it just does not pay off. And I don't know what kind of witchcraft this is, because on the finger, it looks kind of cool. It looks kind of good. Even on the hand, it looks so, like, cool. And then as soon as you get it on the eyes, it's just lackluster. I think what it is because it's so, like, satiny. It's not very shimmery at all, and I love those indie PC sparkly duochromes. This is just a bland duochrome, and a lot of people were saying that in their reviews, which makes me feel a little less alone, a little less with my pitchfork coming from Natasha Denona, but this is just bad. And I find that Natasha Denona's matte formula is so dry, to the point where it just doesn't blend properly. I've never heard anyone say that before. Everyone always absolutely bows down to Natasha Denona, but I can't help but find the quality bad. And for the price point and for the cult following that she has, I've just never understood it. So yeah, for the hype that I had with this, I'm not happy. You can put this in Revolution packaging and I would believe you. Honestly, I would believe you. And for a high-end luxury brand, that should not be the case. So I'm mad. I'm forever mad. I do have 2 eyeshadow pans in this palette, and that was because of my Project Level Up. I used this as an inner corner and I used this as a wing, so I wasn't blending anything. That's where this palette just falls, like blending. No. And for me to wait so long for Natasha Denona to do something like this and for her to just let me down, I'm personally offended. Next is a palette that I actually bought twice. And I will explain all, okay? Because I knew I didn't like it the first time and I still went out and bought it again. So this is another Revolution palette, the Revolution Monster Mattes. This was like a mega palette and I remember I was at Cheshire Oaks, and I was in Superdrug around the back of Cheshire Oaks, if you know, you know. And I was like, oh my god, I'm getting into colourful makeup right now. And this massive colourful Monster Mattes palette was perfect because it had all the colours of the rainbow in it. It had so many different matte colourful eyeshadows. And I was like, boom. I think it was like £15 full price. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to spend my money. I'm going to buy this massive, huge, in-your-face eyeshadow palette. I got it home and I was like, man, this is kind of bad. This is not very good quality. It's not very pigmented. It's not very blendable. It's patchy. It's just like not good. But because I was so new to makeup, I didn't really know what I was doing. It's only really in hindsight that I saw that and I kept using it forever. And then eventually I did obviously realize, yeah, this isn't good. So I ended up decluttering it. Then last year, I think, or like a year and a half ago, something like that, I bought it again. However, this time I bought it secondhand. I wasn't going to buy it full price. And the reason that I bought it again is because, and I actually do stand by this decision, my single eyeshadow collection was full of indie shimmery shadows. And I love my indie shimmer shadows. However, for BYOPs and trying to make color stories, it's really difficult to make a cohesive color story with just shimmers. So I decided I was going to buy it again secondhand. I think I got it for like £5 or something like that. And I depotted all of those shades into my single pans, my 26mm pans. And I have used them for frankening, for BYOPs, for custom color stories, duping videos, things like that. I very rarely actually use them. And that's why I wanted to get it kind of secondhand, because I knew I wasn't going to be like actively using them. But for all those different types of content that I just listed before, it was the perfect palette. And let me tell you, that palette has come in strong in a lot of videos that I have filmed. I'm really glad that I did buy it for that reason, and I'm just happy that I've managed to flesh out my singles collection a little bit more. Maybe some people won't agree with the reason that I bought that, but you know what? It was like no money at all. It was secondhand. I didn't contribute to the toxic consumerism trend. I tried not to anyway. And I think it was a good purchase. I think I did well, and that's why I bought it again. So yeah, the quality is bad, but it does have its uses. And finally, this was such a throwback. I actually went and watched my ranking all of my eyeshadow palettes I've ever decluttered video. I will link it up in the cards because I thought that was a banging video and not a lot of people watched it. So go and give that video some love. It was definitely very interesting. And one of the palettes that I ranked in the bottom of the list was the Bourgeois Le Smokey palette. This thing, I think my mum or like someone passed this down to me, I think, when I like first started getting into makeup. This was like one of my first ever eyeshadow palettes, and this thing sucked. This was an all shimmer eyeshadow palette, and you swatched it and the shimmer seemed to be an overspray. So underneath it was just like bland, like not shimmery, satin kind of rubbish powder. It was so bad. Oh, it was so bad. And I remember the packaging like came up and the mirror like turned around for some reason. It was just a wild, like, was I even awake? Did I dream? Did I dream this palette? Because honestly, I remember not even touching this. I knew even back then that you need some mattes in a palette. It is one of my pet peeves. I would never buy an all shimmer palette now. Maybe if it was like an indie brand with like super like iridescent-y topper shades, maybe. But an all shimmer palette now is like my worst nightmare. And this was my worst nightmare came true. I literally don't think I used it once, and I would never ever use it now, ever. I was truly like baffled even back then, and that was a task to get me baffled back then. Some of the makeup looks I did back in the day were questionable, so you know it was bad. So here we go. These are my picks for the worst eyeshadow palettes I have ever tried. Let me know, what is your worst eyeshadow palette? Let us all know what to avoid down below. We can get a big old list of the blacklisted palettes from this channel. I think it would be so fun to read some of your comments, and who knows, maybe one of my favorite palettes is in your blacklist. So this is it for today. I hope you had an amazing day. If you did, like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow for a brand new video. Bye bye!